FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello. Welcome to episode 187. It's so good to have all of you here, including you, Lee. It's an honor to have you hanging out with us live on Facebook. You always make it interesting. For those who haven't caught a live show, man, I tell you, you're missing some good stuff. And we do the show live every single night, except for, of course, the nights that we don't. But we're live on Facebook, live on Instagram, live on YouTube. You can hear the show wherever you get your podcast. But my favorite, of course, is go to your app store, search for WhysAdvice with FatDag. That's where it is. So out of Sandwich, Massachusetts, we're going to open the show, episode 187. Katherine writes in, says, "Hi, Mike. Hey, thanks so much for all you do to help so many of us stay focused. I love listening to your podcast, especially when I'm walking. Today, I was happy to hear a somewhat longer than usual one because I needed to get a few extra steps in, so thanks for that. Mostly, though, I really appreciated hearing what some of the men experience as they are working the plan and dealing with life. It's extremely useful, I think, to hear how all kinds of people get and stay motivated. So hearing things from a guy's perspective is a wonderful opportunity for the rest of us to learn a thing or two. I followed several guys from all different walks of life since I've been on Connect, which is how I found your podcast via a recommendation from a guy that I follow, because actually I like to hear a different point of view every now and then. Now, there are some awesome women on Connect as well whom I follow, of course, but I still do appreciate all of you men and know for sure that your ways of working the plan are just as important to my success as are the women's. So thanks for the great podcast and for taking the time to share it all with the rest of us. WhysAdvice, Katherine. WhysAdvice, when you're out of points, stop eating points. I get asked that question often. What does WhysAdvice mean? It's a term we made up, and it says when you're out of points, stop eating points. But hey, Katherine, thanks for your email. Hey, it's awesome you're out getting a walk. It's awesome that you're listening to the podcast when you're out there walking. And you know, I believe firmly that the weight loss mindset knows no gender. It doesn't matter. The journey is the same, whether you're 10 pounds overweight, whether you're 200 pounds overweight, whether you're male, whether you're female, whether you're 70, whether you're 60, whether you're 20, the journey is the same. Now, certainly there are aspects of the journey that slightly are unique to you and your situation, but they're not so unique that no one else can understand it. They're not so unique that no one else has no clue what you're talking about. If you don't like the way your clothes fit at 10 pounds overweight, you're not going to like it at 50 pounds overweight. It's just an absolute fact. And if you're not happy with the way you look and you're miserable, it doesn't matter if you're miserable 20 pounds overweight or you're miserable 200 pounds overweight. Doesn't matter if you're a guy, doesn't matter if you're a girl. What we experience on this show is so many people doing so many amazing things, and very, very rarely do the details such as gender matter. And I think that is the piece that for so long, many of us are missing. For so long, we believe that we really are in this thing together. We believe that we're the only one going through this. And so many times people think that the journey's easier for men or the journey's easier for women. And you know, that's actually not true. The journey is easier for those who lock in their mindset. The journey is easier for those that say, I'm ready to do this. that is who the journey is easiest for. And so hearing how so many people work the plan and find their success and get dialed in proves to you that you can do it as well. So Katherine, way to go. Way to get out there getting the job done. We're all awesome, whether it's guys, girls, connect. Everybody out there is just truly awesome, which is what makes this community awesome as well. Katherine, thank you. Out of Noblesville, Indiana, not far up the road here, Lindsey writes in. Lindsey's joining us live on Facebook as well, so this will be kind of fun. It'll be a two-way conversation. But Lindsey says, "Hey, Mike, I've been trying to decide what I should write to you for a while now, especially since I'm one of the lucky ones who gets FaceTime with you every Tuesday night at our Weight Watcher meeting. My journey so far, as you know, has been far from perfect. I have fallen off the wagon many times since joining last October, and every time I come back in on Tuesday, you and the amazing Tuesday night group pick me right back up, and I'm right back on track. I've lost 38 pounds so far. Wonderland is right around the corner. Of course, I've been saying that for a month or so now. I really want to buckle down and get there before May. In May, I would like to have my first purge and go shopping for new, smaller clothes. That's why I decided that since April showers bring May flowers, I want blue dots or raindrops every day this month in my tracker. So far, I am 4 for 4. I'm stressing out about my weekend, though. On this journey so far, I've been pretty lax about tracking on the weekends. I save my weeklies for the weekend for that very reason. Now, I'm not saying I go crazy every weekend and eat or drink or whatever I want. I still think before I act, mostly. I know if I focus and if I track everything, that the blue dots shouldn't be too much of a struggle for me. And I feel like if I can do it in April, then I can do it in May, then I can do it in June, and so on. And before long, I will be at goal. Now, lately, I've been trying to do better, tracking everything on the weekend, but like I said, I typically save my weekly points for the weekend, and now I need to learn to spread them out better instead of going out of my blue dot range those 2, sometimes 3 days. I guess I just need to try and plan better for the weekend. Our weekends are usually crazy, ball games, family gatherings, birthday parties, etc., and the warmer it gets, the crazier it will get. I usually don't plan for the weekend like I plan out my week because I just never know how busy things will get. Help me, FatDag. I want to get to Wonderland. Thanks for everything you do, especially holding my hand along this journey. I don't think it was coincidence that I walked into one of your meetings my very first day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you Tuesday, Lindsey. Lindsey, you're one of those faces that when I see you pop in the meeting room, row 2, seat 2 is what I'm going to call it. You just bring a ray of energy into the meeting room that your smile alone tells me you're getting it done. You're absolutely in this to win it. You're down 38 pounds. What you're doing is clearly working. You know that. You know that it doesn't take perfection to get it done. You see it every week that it's not perfection that gets it. It's you waking up, getting it done, saying you want to be focused. And I'm glad to see that here we are looking at a reevaluation, trying to figure out what's the best way to knock this out. 4 for 4 is amazing work. Way to continue to stay focused there. Let's talk about the weekend. What I really, really loved about your email, and this happens so often on this show, is that people write in, and as you're writing in your email, you have a question in your mind, and you start writing the email, and as you ask the question, you can't help yourself but to answer your own question as you're writing it out. And so you said that, and you said, I guess I just need to try and plan better for the weekend, ? Yes, that's kind of what it is. And so as you usually don't plan for the weekend, here is what's going on. And here's just my complete assumption of the process is as you go through, Tuesday night meeting, You leave there motivated, you leave there on fire, and you can keep that motivation all the way through, into Thursday night, into Friday. The weekend comes, you have all your weeklies left, and what's happening is you're going through this starve yourself reward mindset where you're eating, a little less than your body needs, and then on the weekend you're kind of just going not necessarily all in, because I heard in your email you're not doing that, and I know that you're not doing that, but in comparison to the week, it is. And so you're eating like this, and then all of a sudden you're crouching up on the weekend, and then trying to regain your composure back on a Monday, Tuesday, and it's this overeat, undereat. It's not completely sustainable to do it that way. Your journey absolutely is amazing. You said in your opening email that it has been far from perfect. I disagree. I think it's actually been perfect. The fact that you've been there every single week tells me that you're in it to win it. It just tells me that we have to figure out what aspect of the lifestyle that we need to tweak on you to make this a completely sustainable lifestyle. You're in it to win it. You're doing perfectly. You haven't fallen off the wagon. Falling off the wagon is skipping the meeting and never, ever, ever coming back, and it takes you forever to get back. And if you're in there every single week, I told you that. If you're just there every single week, you stay in it to be accountable, and you absolutely can get it done. Here's what I think. I think going clothes shopping is something that is an amazing reward. Whether it happens in May or it happens in June is irrelevant. Let's take the May equation out of the mindset. And let's say what we can control is the blue dots. What we can control is the points. We can't control the timeline. If we stay 4 for 4, we go 5 for 5, we go 6 for 6, we track every day in May, we track every day in June, we track every day in July, you will be at goal long before you ever even imagined you get there. You got to stay dialed in. You got to stay focused. And what it's going to take at this point is for us to make a plan. You do a great job planning during the week. And so what I want you to do is I want you to look at your tracker. This is a little bit of unsolicited advice, but what I want you to do is I want you to look at your tracker, and I want you to find a day or two during the week where you made a great plan, where you got a blue dot, where you felt the most satisfied you've had of the week, and I want you to plan that exact meal for the Saturday. Let's work on, baby steps. If you're having a difficult time tracking through the entire weekend, let's set a goal for Saturday. And the easiest way to do that is to simply go back and take a day during the week that works, that you can absolutely duplicate. Take that with you into a Saturday. Take that with you into a Sunday. Make that happen. Keep up the amazing work. Now, you absolutely have the right mindset. You have the right attitude, you have the right spirit by saying that if you track everything, that the blue dot shouldn't be too much of a struggle. And if, again, you feel like you can do it in April, then you can do it in May. It's just that baby steps as you go through. But as I said, as we opened your email, is that you answered your own question. You just need to try and plan better for the weekend. It's not really about trying. It's actually about planning. It's actually about doing it. And so as you close your email, you say, I usually don't plan for the weekend like I plan for my week because I just don't know how things will go. If you leave yourself up to whatever the world is going to throw at you, the things the world is going to throw at you are the things that led you into the meeting room in October. Take control of the situation. Do exactly what you're doing during the week. Bring that smiling, happy face on Tuesday. Let's get this done. Let's get you to goal, because I know that no one deserves it more than you, and I can't wait to see how much bigger your smile looks when you get there. Lindsey, it's an honor to have you in the meeting room. You know the deal. That meeting room is absolutely off the hook, incredible. And so thank you for absolutely being a part of it. Next up is Charis, and she has a great email. She says, Dear FatDag, so I'd like to take a moment and relay some milestones, thoughts, and some struggles. When I first heard your story, I was so encouraged to find someone with the same struggle being in the military. Knowing that you crushed your goal, it filled me with excitement and hope. It was December 2017 when something in me clicked on. I knew and I know that real change in my weight meant doing something radically different. I had to do something wild, something completely unlike myself, totally unlike and outside of my comfort zone. I needed to do Weight Watchers. Coincidentally, my first week was the launch week of Freestyle. My progress has been slow, but there is a downward trend. That is a phrase I hear you say all the time, and I repeat it to myself a lot. Thank you for that constant reminder that this process is long-term, not instant, but it's real and it's worth it. My weight has affected my career. It's really hard to say that out loud. I've beaten myself up so many times for jeopardizing my wonderful job over something that I can control. But I've stopped that harmful self-talk. I've admitted to myself that my struggles with food, and I've truly committed to changing. Weight Watchers has given me the tools, but most importantly, it's given me a community of real winning people. It's the support I didn't know that I needed. Seeing people each week who also strive to improve their lives is humbling and encouraging. I'm able to share my achievements and honest setbacks to people who are sharing the same journey. And as a group, we achieve together and we help each other along when it's needed. Today, my weight loss is visible and noticeable. I've lost nearly 30 pounds from my heaviest point last fall. And this feels amazing because I didn't starve myself, or I didn't do anything that I typically would have to make weight. And in the spirit of doing something totally different, I'm not binging or celebrating with food. I'm tracking, I'm continuing my workouts, and I've even started encouraging others. And for the first time in many years, I know that I can make table weight. In the Army, that's your maximum weight for your height. Currently, I'm being measured for body fat compliance. I honestly stopped believing that I could achieve that standard. But I'm so excited to know that these three things. Number one, my issues have been my mindset, and so by changing that, I've already won. Number two, I will not stop this process until I feel at goal. And number three, tracking and attending meetings will get me to goal. I travel TDY, temporary duty, over 100 days a year, so I would be remiss if I didn't include that your show is my meeting away from meetings. You have found an amazing way to help so many people who are in the trenches of these issues. When I listen to the show, you'll hear me on the Treadmaster or the elliptical saying out loud, "Yes, that is so true. That's amazing." And I don't even care if I'm heard. Affirming the truth is so healing, and together, building each other up, we can truly change our lives. You are changing lives, and you help me change mine and save my career. All I can say is thank you. I wish you could focus. Please continue knowing that you are a blessing and a resounding help in places where help seems so far away. Blessings to you and your family, Charis. Charis, you and I have a little bit more than just this email going back and forth. We communicate somewhat regularly, and it's truly my honor to walk this journey with you because, as you know, our journeys are parallel. And hearing the excitement in your email and just picturing you on the elliptical, on the treadmill, yelling in affirmation that you can do this is all I needed to know. And your email is just absolutely amazing, and a couple of other emails that you shared just absolutely touch me in a place where it's all I ever wanted to do was to make sure that no one has to struggle alone. Now, we certainly know that, the Weight Watchers support group is out there, but there's a small subsection of us in the military who truly believed that we couldn't do this. We truly believed that we were completely alone. Our weight is affecting and has affected our career, and saying it out loud finally gives that ownership. It's not about beating ourselves up, and it's not about us, getting to the point where we hate ourselves and we just are really frustrated. It's about us finally admitting that we can do this, It may take something that the military currently doesn't provide in a way that we need to understand it. And that's why we rallied together in the trenches saying, yeah, we can do this. As a group, we do achieve together, and we do achieve more by sharing in a real community of winning people. You said it best. It's the support that you didn't know that you needed. But once you find that support, you almost can't even imagine trying to go it alone. Now that your weight loss is visible and noticeable, down 30 pounds is incredible focus. That's you understanding your why. That's you finding your tribe. And look at you now sharing that and encouraging other people to do the same thing. I love how your email shifts from the opening into the middle where you finally say, I know I can do this. And I know I can do it, and I know I can make weight. And at one point, I honestly didn't believe that I could, but now I'm excited to know that it's all been a mindset. So if I change the mindset, I've already won. I've said that more than once, is welcome to goal. If you completely change your mind on this journey and you can stay locked in that mindset, that is what goal is all about. The scale doesn't know it yet, and the scale will take some time to catch up. But you will get there with that mindset. You don't ever stop until you feel it, and you keep on going, and tracking and attending meetings builds that community where you absolutely are able to get it done. Your schedule is grueling, and I see you travel all over the country. You're doing some amazing stuff, and I've scoped you out on social media, and what you're doing absolutely is incredible. I want you to be able to continue doing that, and you're a unique individual in a sense where what you're doing is a service that is so awesome. And so now that we understand that this little weight issue that we're battling, it could potentially jeopardize that. That's a strong enough why for us to stay together, yelling from the treadmill, we can do this, and we are absolutely going to do this. So, I'm pretty sure that as you're yelling from the treadmill, the person next to you, they're probably not laughing at all. They're probably going, yeah, I bet she's listening to the podcast. And together, you're out there getting it done. Way to completely change your lifestyle. I think the most important thing is that you start to get that level of confidence back. When you start to feel what that feels like, when you start to finally feel good about yourself, and you start to really understand that there's a self-confidence that was buried underneath, and you bring that to light, that is when your life completely changes. I'm truly, truly proud of you. And what I mean by that is that, the emails that we've continued to exchange back and forth, again, I'm incredibly honored to be able to have an opportunity to walk with you and to share my journey with you so that together we absolutely can be completely unstoppable. Thanks for being my wingman as well. To follow that up, Kassandra writes in, says, "Hello, sir. I am so excited to learn about this amazing support system. I'm in the Air Force Reserve, and I was motivated to read your story since you are also in the military. Thanks for the tips, and I'm excited to see what my future is with these new goals. And I have a long way to go, but I'm on the road instead of just thinking about joining. I made some attendance goals for this week, and I'm going to focus on my whys. I appreciate you and all that you do." Well, these two emails together, they tie into a bigger picture. And right now, the number one retention issue facing our nation, facing our military, is folks who are in the military who are overweight. And for so long, we lose more people to obesity than we do overseas. But we're not attacking it in a way that seems to be working. For so many of us, we just don't know what we need. And so what we truly need is we need this support system. We need folks who are getting it done, who understand the journey, and that's what this is all about. We started the Operation FatDag nonprofit, 501c3, operationfatdag.org. You can hear the journey, my journey, episode 12, episode 54, and of course, episode 182. But as we walk through this journey, it doesn't matter if you're in the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, the Reserve, is all of us, have this bigger commitment where we just want to get it done. And we're amazing people that, thank you for your service. Thank you for stepping up. And so now all the amazing things you've done. This is just one more to add to the list. You can do it. And as we jump into a bigger community, what we truly understand is that even though our journey seems to be unique, is that we fit into this world and this population just perfectly, and that we have a support system of all kinds of amazing people getting it done. Kassandra, reach out for sure. Let us continue to walk with you. Let's get you to where you need to be. Thank you also again for your service. And so the very last email we're going to reach up here is, it really comes in at a great opportunity. Sam writes in and she says, "Hey, FatDag, I've mentally written this letter to you over and over in my head, but I've never actually sat down to really write it out. I've been wanting to share my story with you and the WhysAdvice family. I was going to wait until I was all caught up with the current episodes, as I'm only on episode 112, but maybe hearing from you will happen when I need it most down the road, and I apologize in advance for the long story. I'm a singer, and I'm very passionate about theater. I did shows all throughout high school. I remember when I was in a show and my mom came to me after the show and she looked upset. When we got in the car, I asked her what was wrong. She revealed that someone approached her and said, 'Man, your daughter has talent, but she will never go far because of her size.' Although I had already been on my first diet, this was the first time that someone, besides my family, had made a comment about my weight. And when I look back at the photos from high school, I wasn't even that big. Oh, how I wish I were that size right now. I didn't know what this person was trying to accomplish by saying this, but it didn't help my growing hate for myself. I was a bubbly person and outgoing in that sense, but no one ever realized how much I really couldn't stand who I was because of how I looked. After high school, every time that something negative would happen, I would gain more weight. Then I'd go on some sort of extreme diet where I practically starved myself. I'd get complacent and then I'd gain it all back and more. My parents, who both had weight issues, tried to talk me into losing weight because they didn't want me to have the issues that they dealt with. I would fight them on it, mostly because I wasn't open to hearing it and trying to hide the fact that I was an emotional eater and a binge eater as well. My dad and I also used to bicker about my career path. Although I went to college and got a degree in music education, I never really put myself out there to get a good job. I thought I would fail at everything I set out to do, and I did not want to fail. I was afraid. My parents, my friends, my family all told me how wonderful of a musician I was and how wonderful of a teacher that I would be, but I never believed them. In January 2017, I almost lost my mom. She had an infected cyst and went septic. It was so bad that my mom was delusional and didn't want to go to the doctor, which is very unlike her. I kept telling her I was taking her, but she would not listen. Finally, after a week of dealing with this, she fell in the shower, and the paramedic coaxed her to go to the hospital. I tell people all the time that had she not fallen in the shower, I would have lost her. And so began the journey of her being in the hospital for 4 months. In the meantime, my dad was battling multiple myeloma. He worked 4 jobs all throughout his treatments, and because of his weight, he had other complications on top of it. I balanced my own 3 jobs, cooking for him, visiting my mom. All self-care, if I even had any, was not on the radar at all. After a month of this, my father was admitted to the same hospital as my mom. Although he kept telling me he was fine, and it was a simple procedure, I knew that he wasn't telling me everything. So now I was on my own. I have no siblings. Friends tried to help me by making food for me, but I decided it was better to self-medicate with grilled cheese and bacon from the diner than wings from Hurricanes. I still had the same routine, running all over the place, but now I was visiting both of my parents in the hospital. In April, both of my parents were well enough to go into rehab. My dad was about to come home, but he needed to go into the hospital for a transfusion and ended up staying. My mom came home. She considered herself to be very weak, but she had no idea how strong she was and how far she had come. I would go visit my dad still and try to take care of my mom as best as possible. A week after my mom came home, she got a call from a doctor who was very angry. This was an associate of my dad's doctor. He told her that my father should be put into hospice. Hospice? What was he talking about? Dad was fine. Or so he kept saying. It was then that it hit me. He never let me stay for longer than more than 5 minutes before telling me to go sit with my mother. Every time I would ask a nurse how he was doing, I just got very vague answers. As it turns out, we found out later on, my father's cancer was much more aggressive than the doctors realized, and he didn't want my mom or I to know, since my mom was in such a fragile state. She was doing so well, but they didn't want her or I to be rocked by it. He always cared so much about others before himself. He wanted to protect us, and he never wanted anyone, especially me, to see him go through this. On May 10th, my father passed away with my mom and I by his side. After the services, I saw a picture from his wake that was posted on Facebook. I took a good, hard look at myself. In addition to thinking I looked awful, like I always did, for the first time I saw through the smile and saw how miserable I was. And that was when I knew, for my own happiness and for my father, that I needed to make a change. A month later, I walked into Weight Watchers, and I haven't looked back. My starting weight was 328.6 pounds. I've had my ups and downs throughout this journey, but as of Wednesday, I am down 53.8 pounds. I am so proud of myself, and I'm starting to carve out that me that's been hiding for years. I have a long road ahead of me, but I have no doubt in my mind that I will get there. On top of all this, I also got my first teaching job in August at a private school where I teach elementary music part-time. After being thrown into the fire and getting over my fears, I know I can do this, and I'm looking to get my certification so I can work up to full-time. I am also hoping to start performing again and really just enjoying my life. I know that my dad is beaming. He is with me every time that I'm teaching, every time I'm going for a walk and I'm going for a swim. Although I still struggle as I deal with the first year without him, it gives me such comfort to know that I'm finally starting to live the life that he wanted for me, and it can only go up from here. Thank you for all that you do for this community and for our country. It is an absolute joy to listen to you. You inspire me like you inspire so many. Keep doing what you're doing. I cannot thank you enough, Sam. And Sam is Shrinking Mermaid 18 on Connect. And folks, I don't know if you heard what I heard in that email. Sam, 53.8 pounds, incredible. Way to absolutely take charge and do this. And what I heard in your email is that it happens. I said it earlier in this episode, is that when we write in here, it is absolutely therapeutic. Whether you even if you write it and don't even want me to share it, the fact that you mere writing it down, you can hear the mindset change in the middle of these emails. It happens to almost every single one where it starts off with defeat, 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 success, 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 and joy. And so that is what happens. And it's that mindset that says, I can do this. You get powered by your why. You find some inspiration, and coming up on 1 year of your dad's passing. He sounds like an amazing guy. He sounds like an amazing father. My heart breaks for you that you're at a point where you had to go through this alone, and you and your mom are incredibly strong to be able to do this. And so what's awesome about this is that now it's just kind of like we said last night on episode 186, is that, by honoring your father, by doing something where you say, you know what, I got this. And I'm going to use your legacy to help me continue to make a change. And I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to share my love of the world and go do this. That's what you're doing. And there always is a time where you absolutely have to focus on doing your best. And for so long in the past couple of years, that's what you've had to do. And you've done it very, very well. It takes incredible strength to go through what you've gone through. And you come out, on the other end in a completely different place. There isn't a thing that you have to say. You have to start hoping to perform again. You absolutely can do it. Just go out and really enjoy your life, just like you said. I know that your dad is also beaming, just like you know. And every time that you're out there teaching, going for a walk or a swim, you're right. He's out there smiling, saying, "That's my girl." She's out there getting it done. And so, as you continue to wake up every single day, I want you to allow that to fuel you on this journey. I want you to just say, "I can do this." And think of all the things that you've done is, simply getting your first teaching job at a private school where you're now sharing your love and your passion and your fire to those young children who just absolutely, just need to understand the joy of music. That is where your role is. That's where you always should have been. And I'm so glad to see that as we put this self-hate away, that we put this self-doubt away, that you open up your true self to the world and you share the amazing gift that you are with them. And you absolutely continue to remind them that anything they want to do is possible as well. You're an inspiration in so many ways, and the folks on Facebook continue to light up as we celebrate all that you're doing. 53.8 pounds. That does not happen by accident. That's incredible focus. That's incredible, absolute determination of you saying, "I can do this." Congratulations, and way to go for sure. It's an awesome, awesome way to celebrate. Folks, what is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Let's go to FatDag.com, click on the Wise Advice podcast, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. You certainly could email them in at onair@FatDag.com. I've said it twice now in this episode that it happens when you start writing out your why. It's the one thing I think is non-negotiable in this journey. Whether you send it to me or not is actually irrelevant, but you need to sit down and write down, why are you doing this? It's important to know why you're doing it. And if you share it, that's one thing. If you don't want to share it, it's important for you to write it out. And you will probably notice, just like every one of these emails, is that we start off with all the things that are wrong, and then somewhere in the middle, the mindset changes to victory. You can reach goal just by writing it down mentally, and then you wait for the scale to catch up. That's how you do it. And you read it often and often and often until it no longer becomes true. So that's why I want you to email it, and I want you to share it so that other people can find your inspiration and find your success, and they can have that same level of success as well. I love it when you end all of your emails with, "I'm proud of myself," and I'm absolutely glad to be doing this. That is when the life completely changes. Thank you for writing in. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you could focus. Thank you for listening to the Wise Advice podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.